Hello everyone, how's it going? Dr. Incompetent here, and I'd like to do a complete beginner's guide for Disco Elysium, shall we? This is a fantastic and amazing game. It's probably in my top 5 games of all time. I am completing it on the channel. I've put a ton of time into this game, and I thought to myself, it would be worth it to make a guide series for this game to help new players who have purchased the game get into it, understand how to play it, and be successful, and also to showcase the early gameplay for prospective buyers of Disco Elysium to see if this is the kind of a game maybe that you want to get into. Because honestly, at first, I was confused. I didn't know what I was doing. And it can maybe cause you to bounce off of this game or to not enjoy it to its full potential and accept it for what it is. So what we're going to do in this guide is start up a brand new game, and we're going to play together. I'm not going to spoil anything at all about this game because that's what's fun about it. The story, the mystery, understanding what's going on in the game as you go, and everybody's play will be a little bit different depending on what choices that they make and what kind of a character that they create for themselves. So we're going to start a brand new game, and I'm going to explain the mechanics, the UI, how to play, some basic tips and tricks for understanding like what the game wants you to do, how to be successful, so that you can enjoy this game on your own terms and at your own pace. Sound good? All right, let's go ahead and get started. So when you select a new game, the first thing that pops up is this, and it's selecting your character archetype. So you can choose your own archetype, which is to be a thinker, sensitive, or physical. Now, I guess at this point, it should be worth mentioning that I am playing on PC, and I am playing with the Final Cut version of the game. Disco Elysium is now pretty much on everything. You can get it on Switch, PS5, Xbox. I don't know if it's on mobile, but it's certainly on many different platforms. So if there's any differences with your experience, just understand that that's because I'm playing on a PC. Now, the Final Cut, I don't know if there's anything dramatically different content-wise about the Final Cut in terms of how the game plays or the story. What I understand is to be the major difference is that there's just more voice acting in this version. So like some of the lines were not originally voice acted, but now just about everything is voice acted, which is amazing. So when you get to this screen, it's going to ask you to pick what kind of a character you want to be. And this is important because Disco Elysium is a point-and-click adventure detective mystery game, but it's also got elements of an RPG. You have stats, you get gear that improves or worsens your stats, and as you gain experience and level up, you will be able to improve your character's stats, which are used to help make dice rolls in the game to see if you accomplish certain things. There's challenges like you might need to break down a door and you need to be really strong to do that. Or you might be trying to solve some aspect of a crime and you need to be logical to do that. You might be talking to someone and you need empathy, for example. So there's just different ways that you interact with the game, and your stats help you make those dice rolls easier. And when you make your choice, if you want to be thinker, sensitive, physical, or create your own, it's just about what kind of a detective do you want to be. Like, how do you want to go about doing this? Now, in my Let's Play, which I'm going to link in the description below, I created my own, and I was incredibly contemplative with my build. I played it like I was very, very much like the thinker. I was into thinking, and I was not good at anything in terms of combat, physical activity, or even really interacting with people. So for the guide series, I thought, let's just do a completely different build. So if you want to watch my Let's Play and see certain content and the paths that unfold, if you're more contemplative, this would be different from that. And of course, you can choose whatever build you want, and it doesn't really matter. You will just have some different choices, but for the most part, your experience will be the same, and how to be successful will be the same. You just might have to come up with different solutions based on what you're good at. So I recommend choosing an archetype if it's your first time playing, because these give you a direction for your character to go in. So example, this physical one says, extremely physical, interacts with the world through his body, gets things done, but dumb as a rock. And so, that might be interesting. I was more of like the Sherlock Holmes style thinker, or you could be a people person. And I'm going to go with physical for this build because it's kind of the opposite of what I did in my Let's Play. So I think it'll be fun, at least for me, to see what happens if I'm more physically oriented. Additionally, if you're interested in purchasing this game, I do have a complete non-spoilery review of the game, and I will link that as well in the description below. Of course, you can just make your own build and mess around with this if you want, so do whatever you like. I'm going to go with physical. And you click continue, and here we go. The Furies are at home in the mirror. It is their address. Even the clearest water, if deep enough, can drown. R.S. Thomas. Begin.
There is nothing. Only warm primordial blackness. Your conscious ferments in it. No larger than a single grain of malt. You don't have to do anything anymore. Ever. Never, ever.
Alright, so we're in blackness, complete darkness, and we're listening to the ancient reptilian brain here. And this is Disco Elysium in a nutshell. You're going to be having internal conversations with different aspects of yourself, conversations with others, conversations with inanimate objects, for that matter. Everything is about interacting with the world and seeing your character's thoughts unfold. And at times, you will get to make a choice. And here is our first option. We can either push 1 or 2 on the keyboard, or click on these options to choose how we respond. Sometimes it doesn't matter how you respond, and sometimes you can exhaust all of the options for responding. Sometimes, though, it does matter, and usually you will get a sense of, if I do this, then I'm going forward on a path, and I won't have the option to take it back or choose something else. But if it chooses if you choose something and you move on, then just roll with the game, is how I view it. You can save this game a lot. You can save scum to try to get your dice rolls and get the best possible outcome if you choose to play it that way, and that's completely fine. What I did in my play is I avoided that for the most part, and I'll help you understand ways to avoid save scumming. But you want to just let the story unfold, because I've been told by other fans of this game that there's no way to see everything and do everything in one playthrough of the game. There's just so much that it's going to be impossible if you want to be a completionist and get everything, which is why it's cool, in this way for me to play it again and see what's different if I do it this way. It adds replayability to the game. My general advice is just don't stress and enjoy the game. And even if you die, you can still just load your most recent save. The game saves it all the time, auto saves it all the time, and do it again and be fine. You can't back yourself into a corner in this game and make it unbeatable. You can't be so bad with your build that you just can't win. It doesn't work that way. So just enjoy the ride. This is a game of listening a lot to the text, either from the narrator, the main character's own thoughts, other people, or whatever. And it's through this that the real genius of the game emerges. So here's our choice. We can either say never, ever, ever, or simply keep on non-existing. Let's just not exist.
An inordinate amount of time passes. It is utterly void of struggle. No ex-wives are contained within it.
This is great. Give me some more. Or what was that about the X something? This is great.
Yes. It is.
Give me some more.
You got it, sweet brother. Nothing upon nothing upon nothing.
How about you cough up some more of that sweet oblivion?
Coming right up, sir. Smooth passage.
And then at some point, you could just wallow in this if you want, do what you like, but I'm going to say, I want to get off now. I like pain and burning light and wanting things from people who don't want to give them to me.
Do you really?
I do. Let me off.
Alright. Nothing town to fuck all borough.
Let's see here. A return trip to the silence, please. Let's visit the ancient Zero home. Or look, I am tired of being this type of animal, and who gives a crap? So I will tell you right away. Number one, there's profanity in this game. There's dark subject matter in this game. There could be some trigger warnings for certain elements, especially as we get later into the game, but you should know what you're getting into right up front. I do not curse, so the narrator might curse, but I usually will censor myself for the YouTube algorithm. And that being said, another element I want to discuss about this guide is that I'm not going to necessarily always read all of the options. In my Let's Play, I go through everything. I do all dialogue. I read everything, and it's much more thorough. In this, I might just read the option I'm going to choose and leave the others on the screen for the sake of brevity. So let's take number 3.
Not you. Your days of giving a shit and being that type of animal are over.
Don't stop. Keep singing. Sing me the song of death.
The song of death is sweet and endless. But what is this? Somewhere in the sore, bloated man meet around you. A sensation.
So, if you're playing on keyboard, by the way, when it says continue, you can just click on continue, or you could push spacebar.
Like a fly to the ointment, your conscience sticks to it. The limbed and headed machine of pain and undignified suffering is firing up again. It wants to walk the desert, hurting, longing, dancing to disco music.
Mother, help me. There's a head attached to my neck, and I'm in it.
The stench of liquor rises from your mouth, and with it, an ungodly headache.
So as we emerge from unconsciousness and the ancient reptilian brain, we've kind of moved into the limbic system. Who am I? What sort of creature does this to their own mouth?
A fiery streak penetrates your skull, trying to force your eyes open. It's a sound, a clarion call from hell.
Open your eyes. All right. And now we are awake, kind of, and holding our head. And now we can actually control the game world, and let's talk about the controls. So first of all, you can zoom in and out with the mouse wheel, and you see all of these green or teal circles. These are objects that we can interact with. So the game is kind of showing you you can interact with these things, and now it's telling you can also hold tab to highlight objects in the world that you can interact with. So generally these circles mean that you're going to have some kind of a thought about these items, and they're color-coded for what type of a thought they are. But also, as I hold tab, you could see, like, I can interact with these pants because, you know, I'm stark naked. Maybe I want to get dressed. I can interact with this ceiling fan, with this jacket over here, and even with this shoe, singular shoe, hanging up. So there's a lot going on. You wake up with a throbbing headache, and you kind of thought you were dead, and you're naked. And in the bottom left of the screen, you're going to see, this is my portrait. I don't even know who I am right now. It's all blurred out. That's how bad things are. In orange, you're going to see some pips that denote my health. So because we went physical, I actually have a lot of health. I have 5 health, which is good. However, as far as morale goes, I'm not the, most intellectual, so I don't have a lot of psychological pain that I can take. And these are kind of your 2 health meters. Physical and mental, or health and morale. If either of those goes to 0, you die. However, you can get consumable items in the world, purchase them, find them, that can restore these for you. And if you have any restorative items, these numbers above you where it's has the plus sign will reflect that. Right now I have 0, which is why if I mouse over this, it says charges 0. But if I had something that would restore health, I could click on this and then restore health. Now over here in the bottom right, you're going to see the ribbon that is displaying what time it is, how much money I have, which is the kind of like clover symbol there. My skill panel, which is these 6 rectangles down here. The items I'm carrying in my bag, my inventory, my journal, and the thoughts that I'm internalizing, or my thought cabinet, as well as what I'm holding in my hands. I have nothing right now except some socks and underwear. So we don't really have much to talk about in that world, but we're going to get it. Now, in the Disco Elysium, you can walk around using WASD to move around, or you can click to move by using left click. So my advice for you in any environment in Disco Elysium, and in any conversation for that matter, is to exhaust every option. You are a detective, and you want all of the details and information that you can possibly get. Not only is it extremely well written and fun to see, but it's very helpful to your character. You might get experience. You might open up new options. So you want to, before you rush out, do and look at everything. Explore everywhere. Interact with everything. So, for example, I'm naked. What about these pants? Let's click on them. Left click. It opens up this screen which says take all. And right here you can see these are flare cut trousers. There's some items here, and I can click on this to take it. Now, you see that these flare cut trousers give a -1 to savoir-faire and +1 to electrochemistry, and that those traits are color-coded. I'm going to click on this to pick it up, and I've gained an item, and then you see there's a thought circling my head.
You hear a jingle. Keys are clinking in the pocket of your flare-cut pants.
Okay, so usually if you have thoughts that circle your head, you need to click them, and you need to click them quickly. So if you ever see them up there, sometimes they'll go away. They can be positional, like they're related to where you're actually standing in proximity. So as long as you're in that proximity, the thought will circle, or it could be timing based on something you just heard or saw, and you need to click on them quickly in general. They are color-coded, reflective of what type of a thought they are. So in this case, it's a perception or hearing check, which is why it was this kind of yellow mustard color. And we've got some keys in our pants. Let's fish them out.
It says whirling in rags on the aluminium key ring. There is a single key on the ring. The number 1 is etched on it. It should open the door.
All right, so we found the key to the door. I also, as you could see, immediately put the pants on. And they are nice bell-bottom disco pants. Normally when you find items in this game, you don't automatically put them on unless, I believe, you have nothing in that slot. So now I've got some pants, and let's go see if I could put on this jacket. I'm going to click on it, stumble over here, and if I mouse over it, it's a disco-ass blazer. Heck yeah, and it gives me +1 to esprit de corps. So I'm going to put this on, and now I'm wearing it. And I don't have an undershirt, but I'm semi-clothed at this point. which feels good. Now, you see how on the bottom right of the screen, where the briefcase icon is, there's a little yellow badge in the upper right, and if I click on this, it'll open up my equipment screen. This is your paper doll for your character, and you could see everything that you have equipped, all the empty slots that you have, and then if you have anything else that you could choose from, it would be over here on the right. These are categorical tabs. You can have tools, you can have clothes, you can have items, and you can have objects that you can interact with. Right now I have nothing, and the clothes don't show up here because they're being worn, but if I wanted to take them off or I had extras, they would be there. Now also, let's look at the left column of the screen and see my stats. So we're going to look at this more carefully, but these are my current stats: 1, 2, 5, 4, 1 intellect, 2 psyche, 5 physique, and 4 motorics. So there's a brief flavor description for these, and generally most things are described when you mouse over them. You can see our health, our morale, and then it tells you the bonuses you're getting from your items. 2 different stats. So, for example, the net bonuses I have right here are on the left, and if you mouse over, you can kind of add these up manually if you want. Now, if I go back to the left on this and I check out my character sheet, this gives you a breakdown of all of our stats and the skills that are behind them. So there are 6 skills or attributes behind these stats. So for example, logic is a subset of intellect. And the empty white diamond there means that if I had enough experience to spend a skill point to level up this skill, I could level up logic to 1. However, my skills are capped at the overall level of the stat that governs these skills. So all of my intellect skills, you can see, I can only put up to 1 because my intellect itself is 1. So this is the limitation of this character. I'm not going to be great at some of these things because my intellect is low. However, if you look at physique, for example, I can boost these up tremendously because I have a 5 in physique. And you can get bonuses from items, thoughts, and learned skill. And you can see I have a +5 right now. So you can also click on any of these skills to see what they are and what they govern. And this is where we are right now. Every level takes 100 experience points. You can see in the bottom right here. So every time I get 100 experience, I will get 1 skill point. I could spend a skill point to level up one of these skills by filling in one of these diamonds. You could see hand-eye coordination actually already has a skill point in it. In fact, it's a signature skill because I started with this with my build. But this is what I could do with skill points. Now I can also make room for thoughts, but we don't have any thoughts right now. So I'm going to push escape and get out of this menu. Let's look around further. Let's check out this bottle of wine. This magnum-sized bottle of Commodore Red is empty. All right? So you hear there was a little sound effect there of you just kind of like checking it off and observing it. And then once you've observed it, it's gone. And let's see. What's this? Looks like someone tore out the tape while the song was playing. So I apparently, or somebody didn't like the music and tore the tape out. What's this bundle? So on the ground, there is an empty cassette case. And I could pick this up, and you can see it has a price associated with it, money. So I can maybe sell this for some money. I'm going to pick it up. And it says item gained. So if I go into my inventory, indeed, in the items tab, you see how there's this orange badge showing you got a new item right here. And if you click on this, you can get some more information about any item that you've got. And I'm going to push escape. And over here, this reel-to-reel tape player is still on, rolling empty. There is a shoe. Let's click on that. And I have found a left-footed green shoe. So I guess that's good. But you could see I have one shoe on and one shoe off, which is just well fitting of the situation I'm in. Now, there appears to be a necktie on this ceiling fan.
This fan has 2 chain pull switches. One ends in a tiny fan, the other in a light bulb. A truly horrific necktie has somehow attached itself to one of the blades.
So I can grab the tie with savoir faire. I could pull on the fan and I could pull on the light bulb. So I could do this, or I could try to turn this off first. But let's explain what's going on here. So this right here in square brackets, how it says savoir faire medium 10. This is explaining that this is a skill check. And I have a savoir faire of 3. All right, so that's from all of my bonuses all together. I've got a 3. And I get to roll, for all skill checks, you get to roll 2 6-sided dice. So I need to get a 10 or above to pass this check. So I get a +3 to my roll. So that means I need to roll a 7 or above with 2 dice 6. And it tells you I have a 58% chance, an even chance of making this happen. But more importantly, it tells you that this is a white check, which means you can retry it. Now, when they say you can retry it, they mean only if certain conditions are met. And generally that means if you level up savoir faire, then every check in the game that you have failed on that was a white check that was governed by savoir faire will open up again and you can retry it. You don't get to just retry it right away. So if you fail right here, you fail. So what I do is I kind of don't do a check first. I do other things to see if I can improve my chances. So let's pull on the fan.
The blades come squeaking to a halt. It should be easier to reach the tie now.
See, so I pulled on the fan and I've slowed it down. And right here, you see how now my check has gone up to high, 92%. I got a +3 because I turned the fan off. So I could pull on the light bulb as well if I want.
A terrible mistake. Turn the lights off immediately. You can practically feel the photons burning a hole in your brain.
But this was a bad idea.
It's just a little hangover-induced photosensitivity. Don't overreact.
So because I have a hangover, the lights are hurting me. I can bring it on or I can just turn the lights off. I'm going to turn the lights off.
The lights are off.
Hurts my eyes. Let's get past that. So now I'm going to try to get this tie. I have a good chance to get it, but it's worth noting, if you roll snake eyes, 2 1s, you always lose. And if you roll 2 6s on the other side, you always pass the check. So let's see if we could get it.
You swoop
Got
up and
it.
catch the tie. Snap. It's released from the blade.
So now we have the tie.
What you have in your hand is a truly hideous necktie with 4 or 5 different patterns. The knot reminds you of a noose.
That's ominous. So we'll leave. And you could see I am wearing the tie. I have no shirt, but I have 1 shoe and a blazer and a tie and a horrible headache. That's where we're at. So I'm going to go into the bathroom now, just kind of stumbling in, and we have a thought. Words fail to describe how rank it smells in here. They should have sent a poet. Yikes. That's not good. What's this bathtub? You see bottles in the bathtub. Wine, beer, and sweet liqueurs. Oh, here's a shirt. Look at this. It is a white satin shirt. Let's take it. And we put it on. So we're getting more dressed. This feels good. And there's a mirror.
A mirror hangs above a bent and broken sink. In a fierce discharge of masculine energy, someone has ripped half the faucet off.
I wonder if that was me.
Hot water sprays from the base and steam covers the mirror. You cannot see yourself, just the outline of a man. Suddenly, you realize you have no memory of the face that awaits you there, underneath the soft vapor.
This is bad. Really? Nothing?
Really, all recollection of the person you are The people in your life and even the world you're in has drowned in a sea of blood alcohol. This was no mere night of drinking. It was a deluge of world-ending proportions.
That is bad.
With all the synapses you've extinguished, it's a miracle you can even think this sentence. You've interrupted a true act of self-annulment here.
So another thing I want to point out is I just made a check in this moment. So these skill checks happen as you explore, talk, and you can't do anything about them. You don't know necessarily when they're going to happen if it doesn't tell you with the option. But I made an electrochemistry check, and you can mouse over it, and you could see it was a challenging check. I needed a 12, and I rolled a 12, which means somehow I must have rolled, boxcars, which is amazing, and passed that check. So when you've exhausted an option in dialogue or in an interaction, it is kind of like grayed out, and the more vibrant orange options you haven't yet selected. It's not always the best to take every option. Some options are bad for you if you select them, but I usually try to select every option unless I think it's going against my character or I think it's going to be bad. So I'm going to wipe the mirror.
As you slowly reach your hand towards the surface of the mirror. Abort. You clearly have not thought this through. You won't like what you see there, and you will never unbecome it.
So I could say, I don't care, wipe the mirror, but maybe I should touch it first, make sure there's nothing wrong with my face.
Yeah, there is definitely something wrong with it.
What? What's wrong?
Where to even begin? There is the bloatedness, then the swollenness. It's like there's an upholstery of alcohol underneath your skin.
I'm sorry, touch your nose.
Bet you are. Your nose feels like a small balloon in the middle of your face. It
Ouch.
hurts when you honk it. It doesn't appear to be a particularly tiny nose either. Not with all the drinks it's absorbed for you.
At least my tongue is okay. Touch your tongue.
It's not. It's swollen and snail-like, wriggling between your fingers.
I could say, I'm scared, I want to stop doing this, but I'm not scared. I'm going to wipe the mirror.
Behold.
Look at that. It's my face. And look in the bottom left corner. I can see my face. That's what I look like.
You have no idea who this thing is, do you?
This is the face of a late-stage alcoholic.
Too late. You clearly have rigor mortis on your face. Oh, wait. Is that an expression? Are you trying to make an expression with that face? Why?
I'm not making it. The face is making itself.
Please stop. It's horrible. You're scaring yourself.
No, keep making the face.
You can't, can you? It's like it's not even voluntary anymore. You have worn that grin into your face, and now it won't come off.
Oh gosh, I forget. The beginning of this game is so good. This is so hilarious. Look at that. Imagine you wake up from some kind of blackout. You have a horrible hangover. You're nude, and you appear to have destroyed your hotel room. It smells awful, and this is the face looking back at you.
What does it even mean? What is the emotion you're trying to convey?
It's insinuating that I'm vaguely sympathetic. I think I'm sort of pulling it off, too, in a sad has-been kind of way. There's some charm to it. It's an expression of pain. I think it's supposed to look suggestive. I'm afraid it's meant for the ladies. So, I'm going to lean into this and just say superstardom.
You should check yourself for a pulse, superstar. From here, it looks like a cadaverous spasm.
Check for a pulse.
You find no sign of life on your swollen neck. However, putting your hand on your chest reveals an irregular heartbeat. You appear to be alive, for now.
So I have some checks that I could do here. Encyclopedia or electrochemistry. And both of these are low. 3%, 3%. And this is because I'm bad at both of these things. But sometimes it's okay to fail. So let's Dig deep into your mind to locate the source of the expression.
Like the rest of you, it comes from a bad place somewhere in the past. That's all you know for now.
And I could even try this one.
It's too late. Like an image on film. The expression belongs to your primary motor cortex. It would take a minor neurological miracle for you to cease producing it.
It's going to take a miracle to stop making this face. Let's let it be for now. So, this is time to talk shock and strategy about the game. Shop, I should say. I generally, you can see it's auto-saving right there, by the way, do white checks if I think there's no problem and intend to come back to it later. If, however, it looks like it's close, like I might make it, sometimes I will hold off on a white check to see if I can get more items and then come back and do it. But if I know I have no shot, I just hope for a miracle. And then even if I fail a white check, I know if I level it up, I can come back and do it again. And in fact, we can't see it now, but eventually the game is going to keep track of every check. And we will be able to go back to those and try them at any time as long as the area is still open to us and pass it. So I'm not spoiling anything, but I'm just going to explain to you the main character will get better because it's an RPG over time. So you will raise your skills and you will find more items to raise your skills. So you will be a lot better at stuff later. You're just god awful right now. You're in a bad state right now. So don't worry about failing it. Now, if it says it's a red check, however, that's a one-time thing. And you might want to hold off on that if you care about trying to make it until you have good stats, good items, and you feel comfortable. So there's a door here. What can I do here? It is locked. I can do nothing. So I'm going to walk and stumble. And you see that the window is yellow. So that's a different type of interaction. Let's look at it.
The window stands broken in its frame. Cold wind blows in.
So I have a reasonable check right here, but let's look out.
The morning light hurts your eyes. It's hazy, but you see the ocean and some war-torn buildings.
Assess the damage.
The shards face outward. Whatever broke this window came from the inside.
So you can see right here the image of this. It's like a ballistics reading, and your character will do this from time to time because they're a detective. And so they will try to piece together what happened here. Something flew out the window. Did I break it with my own hands?
A fine web of scarring covers the back of your right hand, but none of it is recent.
What did it then?
More likely a projectile than a held object. There are no fragments on the floor from pulling a tool back in after impact.
Assess the size of the impact.
It is too large for a bullet, yet too small for a piece of furniture. You're looking for something heavy and larger than your fist.
Okay.
The single green shoe you found fits the hole almost as well as your foot. It would have also been heavy enough if thrown with force.
So it's I threw my shoe out the window.
Congratulations. You smashed the window with your own shoe. Now you only have one. If you're lucky, you could still find the other one on the balcony outside. The door to it should be outside your room.
I should go and get the shoe.
A cool wind gushes in. Your toes curl up from the cold.
Boom. We just got 5 experience and a new task. So now we can finally open up our journal. And this is where you will keep track of all of your tasks. So right here, we have this task that we got on Monday, which is find our other shoe. And there's some description here to help you do that. And it's a job to be done. And if we complete these tasks, generally we get rewards, usually just experience, but sometimes other things as well. Now, I'm going to zoom all the way out and hold tab. And there's nothing left for me to interact with that I want to interact with unless I want to turn on the lights and suffer the pain. I think I'm okay, though. And I'm going to drag myself over here and open the door. Which we can open. And oh my gosh. We step outside. This is an upper balcony in a hotel, I guess. There's something on the table. Alright. What is it? Oh, it's some money. So, when you see coins like this, just take it. Not stealing. Take it. Let's click on this. And where does this go? I'm having a thought. The smell of the sea makes you dizzy. And... oh, look at that. We're on the balcony. A gust of briny wind washes over you. There's a shoe.
There they both are. Two identical shoes. Both copiously green and indiscriminately snakeskin. Reunited on your feet.
So we got 10 experience for completing the task, which is general for a small task. You can get more experience based on how big the job is and how well you did on it. How do they fit?
Good. They're balanced. Comfy. Feels like the only good thing about you right now, truth be told.
So right there, you could see I actually healed myself. I can't because I'm at full, but that would have restored some morale if I was in a bad way. Great. So now I got a couple shoes on, and I'm going to zoom in and look at myself. I have a shirt, a tie, a jacket, pants, 2 shoes. That's a win. And we come down here, and there's a calendar.
Hello, officer.
Hi. The calendar says it's March. The year is 51. There's a woman here.
The young woman raises a cigarette to her lips.
She is Miss Oranje Disco Dancer.
Her eyes are brown, and her face is speckled with birthmarks. She can't be more than 28.
So you could see this was a perception roll that I just made, and I don't know who I am. So any information I can get is useful. Officer, am I military personnel?
No.
She seems perplexed by your question. Wait, I know. I'm a businessman. Chief Executive Officer, right?
The young woman shakes her head slowly.
Okay, Chief Technical Officer?
No. You're a police officer, sir.
Now, you can have these options. Are you sure? Number 2, or darn right, I'm a policeman, and don't you forget it.
Okay, cool. I won't.
No need to be alarmed. I was just getting into character, you know.
Okay.
She breathes in the silvery smoke.
Whoa. Something wants to come out of you. A bit of vomit.
Oh boy.
Thankfully, you keep it down, because your body does not control you.
How'd you know I was a police officer?
Sir, you've been here for 3 days. On official police business, as you put it.
And what business is that?
Couldn't say. In truth, so far, mostly drinking.
So my suggestion is low. This is a 12. I have 1. I need to roll a 12. That's not good. Who in their right mind would let me be an officer of the law, or why don't I remember being a cop or anything else?
Could it be because of the drinking?
She raises an eyebrow. The cigarette sizzles.
She hasn't had time to put her makeup on. This is her morning cigarette. She looks tired, her beauty waning faster than it ought to at her age.
So you could say the other things. You could try this. This is a red check, however. And this would be to try the expression on her. Let her know you want her physically. That is not a good check for us, so we should probably save up on that one. Or, depending on how you feel, you could just go for it. So, I'm going to play this as this character is more confident than my previous one, because I'm more physically oriented, and I'm just going to say, you know, I know I should be a cop. I feel good about it. I should get going.
Of course. Be careful, officer. They don't like the police around here.
All right.
Something stirs in you as she's about to go. Call it an instinct, a need, the need to ask questions. It's like you said the words 1,000,000 times before.
1,000,000 times.
She looks back at you, a light glinting off her eyes.
Before you go, I have some questions for you.
Yes.
What is it they have against the police here?
The dock workers are pretty cocky. They think they're police enough. At least here on the coast. I can't say about the rest of the city.
Your room's almost next to mine. Did you hear anything last night?
There was the usual ruckus. Loud disco music.
Did I have any visitors?
I couldn't say. It's impossible to hear people speaking from over here.
Loud disco music?
Yes. Various artists. Ostentatious orchestration prime among them.
She raises an eyebrow, waiting for the names to connect with you.
Oh, were huge where I come from. I was very young then, of course. Like 7. Life gets hard, but we go on.
It mostly just gets hard, doesn't it?
It would appear so. At around 2 o'clock, the disco stopped and there was a change of pace.
What happened?
A slow, sad song started playing, like organ music on repeat. That went on for quite a while. Some of the time, you were yelling along to it.
Was I singing this? Show her the empty case. This is the tape that I picked up.
Yes, there was a church in there. A really small church. Like the smallest, saddest church in the whole world. It was about that. And also...
You could say what else, or I've heard enough. What else?
That it doesn't matter anymore and that we're alone now. It was difficult to tell. The song itself was very quiet and soft, but you sounded like a wounded boar, sir. It was hard to understand what you were singing on top of it.
When you say wounded, do you mean like in a cool way, like a wild beast?
Yes. It was very cool.
Oh, okay. Then what happened?
Then you started screaming and trashed the place.
That's so me. What did I do?
A window was smashed. The tape player, probably. The song stopped. And furniture, too. A real destructathon. There was screaming. Then I think you passed out.
Was there anything else?
There was. I think you screamed that you didn't want to be this type of animal anymore. I may have misheard, but it was sort of memorable.
Sounds like you were in some real fundamental pain there, muscle man.
Very.
I went out afterwards. Everything was quiet by then, around 4 or 5. And that was it.
Where am I?
You're in a hostel, sir.
No, where are we? Where in the world?
We are in Revachol.
So Revachol forever.
Forever and ever.
And ever and ever. Out of the corner of your eye, you see the hair on the back of your hand standing on end. It feels as though low-grade lightning is coursing through you. You must be hypersensitive from the hangover.
Tell me, is it 51 now?
It's 51.
Okay, tell me something
Yeah.
else. Okay, you can go. So I'm going to just tell you straight up. If you want, you can exhaust all of these options. And you can even go back into old ones and sometimes pick options that you didn't pick before to get all of the reactions. If you want to see like more and more and more story, understand more about your character and these people, it's up to you. But I'm going to kind of play it a little bit less exhaustively because of the guide.
Glad to have been of assistance.
You sound very sincere about that. There's some cigarette butts. Looks like she left a nice long stub in the ashtray. It's still smoking. So, this is Disco Elysium. We've made our character. We got dressed. We've talked to people. We've explored. We've made some skill checks. And we need to go figure out more about who we are, what we're sent to investigate as a police officer, and where we are. Everyone, I hope you have found this first episode of our guide series to be useful. This is going to need to be a series because there's so much in this game to explore, and we will get into more as we unlock more options, more things to do, places to go as the series gets longer in the tooth. Everyone, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please post those in the comments below. And if you have any clarifications to make, that would be fantastic. If you're a veteran Disco Elysium player, just make sure they are non-spoilery for new players enjoying the game for the first time. I really appreciate that. Thanks again, everybody. Take care.